It's been a busy few weeks. It's good to finally get to some video games. I mean, look, my wife bought me GTA Trilogy Definitive Edition. Doesn't it look great? Oh, what's that, babe? That's not GTA Trilogy. Oh, this is GTA 5 with some mods? That's dope. But wait, what does GTA Trilogy look like? Oh dear lord, look away. Look away. What's good, Deck Gang? It's been a long time since one of my weekly news roundups. You can blame the Steam Deck delay and the dev stream and Turkey Day, but guess what? That's right, I'm back, just like Bobby Kotick showing up to the goddamn Activision offices every day. Haven't you got the hint, Bobby? It's time for you to resign. Anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. Today, we're covering everything. I've got industry news, hardware news, gaming news, and of course, whatever Steam Deck news I can put together for the Deck Gang. So grab a snack and a drink, and let's dive into the news. Let's start with Take-Two. No, not them. The company that owns Rockstar. No, the Rockstar with the R as a logo. No, that's Roost R. They're an apparel company or something. Look, as you all know by now, the GTA Trilogy release was an unmitigated disaster, and Take-Two has apologized and promised to rectify the situation. And you know, hats off to them for that. I'm actually not too broken up about the bad release. These things happen. But there was some recent news that really solidified for me that Take-Two is kind of just a shell of their former selves. Here it is. A Twitter user that goes by Ash R reported that Take-Two have been going on a quote rampage with disputes against anything with the words Rockstar, Take-Two, Bully, and more. I also saw oppositions for trademarks that have the word Mafia or Civilization, as well as for logos that are primarily the letter R. Now, before you go into my comments, I know what you're going to say, but Richard, it's normal and necessary to protect your trademark. Yes, that's true, and the situation is a lot more nuanced than one can convey in a tweet. That said, this is not normal. This is not a normal volume or level of aggression for trademark disputes, particularly in this industry. If you don't believe me, go watch this video by Hogue Law. He did a wonderful job of breaking it down, saying they are being particularly aggressive. The number of oppositions they filed in the last 3 months is equivalent to the number of oppositions by EA in the last 6 years. As Richard Hogue put it in his video, they are trying to bully people into not even trying. They are, quote, essentially making the process the punishment, end quote. So why do I say that this solidified them as a shell of their former selves? Well, I'm starting to see a pattern form. Back in July, Take-Two started DMCAing mods of GTA 3, Vice City, and San Andreas, forcing these mods to come down. They went in heavy. And now with the GTA Trilogy behind them, they're starting to go after GTA 4 mods, which is causing folks to believe a GTA 4 remaster is coming. And now this. So here's the pattern I see. The suits running Take-Two do not have faith in their own products. That may sound extreme, but I'm going to repeat it. Take-Two, as a publishing house, does not have faith in their own products. They're trying to hold on to a legacy that they've built rather than build an even bigger legacy. I don't care that you released a bad remaster. I care that you knew it was bad and it would look even worse when compared to the efforts that were made by a passionate community, so you ensured those efforts would no longer be available, and you even took down your original release so that it would no longer be available for purchase. And then you made it so that media outlets couldn't review the game until it was out, until it was too late. You knew your product wasn't up to par. You're doing everything to make money except giving proper budgets to the studios that work on your video games. And that's what this most recent legal aggression represents to me. Consciously or subconsciously, you don't trust that the Rockstar brand name can stand on its own without you aggressively coming after any restaurant, catering company, or bicycle shop with an R in the logo. You don't have faith in yourself. And if you don't have faith in yourself anymore, I don't have faith in you either. But as always, that's just what I think. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Next up, in the bar's low, but I brought a shovel, everyone wants Bobby Kotick out. No, I mean it, everyone. How do I even recap this? Blizzard has been at the center of sexual harassment allegations and a lawsuit for a few months now. Their parent company, Activision, managed to make it seem like it was a Blizzard problem, and they were so surprised that anything like this could have happened. That was until the Wall Street Journal investigative piece from 2 weeks ago that reported Kotick, the CEO of Activision, had known about these allegations for years. For example, he failed to inform the board about alleged rape cases and subsequent out-of-court settlements. This made him the subject of an SEC investigation and has also caused executives at Sony Interactive, Xbox, and even Nintendo to write internal memos to say that they obviously don't condone these actions and that, as Phil Spencer put it, they are, quote, evaluating all aspects of our relationship with Activision Blizzard and making ongoing proactive adjustments, end quote. What those adjustments may be, we may never know. So while employees, partners, and even shareholders are calling for his resignation, the board members at Activision appear to be protecting their man. Now, people are rightfully targeting his position on the board of directors at Coca-Cola. Sadly, this matter doesn't seem like it will be resolved soon, but the larger the outcry in this scenario, the better. And the last thing I have in industry news is the Game Awards. These will air 6 days from today on December 9th at 8 p.m. Eastern. The nominees were announced some time back and there were no major surprises, but the leaks for what may be announced at the awards are starting to heat up. Some things we may see include a BioShock sequel titled BioShock Isolation, a sequel to Prey 2017, a remaster of the original Mirror's Edge, the new Hellblade, a new IP from Ken Levine, some big Game Pass announcement, and perhaps something from Nintendo about Zelda's 35th anniversary. That would be a lot of potential ground to cover, so we shall see. Now let's jump into some hardware news. A group of congressional lawmakers are pushing a bill to outlaw the use of automated bots buying up retail goods including consoles and graphics cards. While a previous attempt to pass a similar bill was stalled some time ago, the belief is that the ongoing supply chain troubles would help the current bill find more support. Personally, I'd love to see fewer bots buying up all these retail goods, but in practice I'm not exactly sure how such legislation or enforcement of it would work. Still, it would be good to explore options for this one. Let me give you 2 reasons why. First reason is this piece that reports that AMD is raising prices of their graphics cards by 10%. That will mean a $40 hike on most graphics cards, assuming you can find them. This is due to AMD's vendor TSMC raising the price on their wafers. Things were already bad enough, and it looks like they're about to get worse in time for the holidays. The second reason is that we now have some more information about Nvidia's upcoming line of RTX 40 graphics cards. We're expecting a launch that would happen no earlier than late 2022. These cards will be based on a 5nm node, and it seems like we can expect almost 2 times the performance of current cards. This is all rumor and speculation for now, but we do know these cards will be coming regardless, so it's more a reason to beat the bots and beat the scalpers when we can. Finally, in hardware news, there were a couple of handhelds announced. First, Anbernic is moving on from their RG351 line, having perfected the form factor with the RG351MP. Next up for them is the RG552. This device has a 5-inch display at a resolution that's a little bit better than 1080p. It'll be Android based, and while it won't play GameCube reasonably, it should play N64, Dreamcast, and PSP. This appears to be debuting at a $250 minimum, which is quite a bit more than I would expect to pay for an emulation handheld. And then there's Razer Snapdragon, which is more of a dev kit or a prototype. This is a 5G Android handheld powered by some new Qualcomm APU. We're going to see a lot of marketers tell us that this thing is the future of handheld gaming. But I'm getting a lot of Steam Machine vibes from this. First of all, who is it for? And second of all, customers won't buy this without games, and developers won't make games without customers. IGN's preview was a lot more sober and realistic in my eyes. I'm curious to see where it goes, but my hopes aren't high. With industry and hardware news out the way, let's talk about some games. This week, EA and Respawn announced that they're taking Titanfall off of their stores and subscription services. For years, they have been dealing with DDoS attacks on their Titanfall servers, and at some point earlier this year, it appeared they were going to address the problem. Now, it looks like instead of addressing the problem, they're ending support for this game. While they haven't announced that they're taking down Titanfall servers, I think it's safe to assume that that news will soon come. I absolutely understand the need to end support for a game at a certain point, but I do wish they would be able to empower the Titanfall community so that the community can keep the game alive on their own, if they so desire. Here's some exciting news. Ghost Runner is getting a huge expansion in January. It's called Project Hell and launches on January 27th for $15. I really enjoyed this game, and if you did too, you might remember Hell. In this expansion, you play as her in 6 new missions. It sounds like her campaign is going to be a lot more combat oriented, which is pretty neat. Keeping with first-person parkour, Dying Light 2 has gone gold. The original Dying Light was released in 2015, and this much-anticipated sequel went gold 2 months ahead of its release. To celebrate, the Techland team shared 15 minutes of gameplay yesterday. I love how it looks so far, and I have my fingers crossed that it will deliver. Speaking of great looking footage, we were treated to an official launch trailer of Halo Infinite. I'll be honest with you, I haven't finished a Halo campaign since Halo 3, but this trailer has got me hype. The antagonists, the drama, the size of the battles, the vehicles, the grapple hook, and the music. I'm here for all of it. And while there have been some legitimate complaints about how monetization is handled in multiplayer, 343 has otherwise nailed the gameplay. Between that and this trailer, I now have hope that this campaign will stick the landing. And the last thing I have for gaming news is Rocket League Sideswipe. I was playing this when I should have been working on this video. I can feel you judging me for mentioning a mobile game, but hey, I love Rocket League and this game is good. Now, it is free to play, so you pay to buy cosmetic items, but if you're able to ignore that and deal with the touch controls, the actual Rocket League mechanics are intact, but now on a 2D plane. I don't know, I'm just saying, it's a good game and it's free. Maybe give it a try. And finally, let's talk about Steam Deck. Valve has published an updated developer FAQ. I don't think there's anything new here. This is mostly what was on the dev stream a couple of weeks ago. The only somewhat new piece of information is that they issued a correction on the power of the 3750H relative to the Steam Deck. In the dev stream, they implied that the two were somewhat comparable, and this documentation has been updated to clarify a bit more, saying that this is the closest they could find that is still generally available for purchase. Also, Dusk got an update that's relevant to playing on the Steam Deck. This actually happened back in late October, but I didn't get a chance to cover it. Alongside the Switch release of Dusk, New Blood updated the PC version, so it now has a weapon wheel, better controller bindings, as well as an auto hop and auto climb accessibility feature. These were all features that were added to the Switch version to make it friendlier for consoles, and I think these updates will suit the game nicely on deck. There was also an update to Proton a couple of weeks ago, and again 2 days ago. I already covered the BattleEye improvements, but notably it added support for Forza Horizon 5 multiplayer. It's still sitting at a silver rating on ProtonDB, but the experience is improving since launch. Tyler McVicker reported on the game that Valve seems to be focusing on right now called Citadel. It's some sort of asymmetric multiplayer game featuring RTS and FPS mechanics, and it takes place in the Half-Life universe. It may feel like this might be geared towards a Steam Deck release, but I believe this is just the project that they have in active development right now. Next up, it looks like LTT should have a new Linux challenge video coming soon. They've let the cat out of the bag a bit and said that this one will be about completing productivity tasks. I'm actually pretty excited about this one, and it should help take the heat off the LTT team a bit since Linux is pretty good at this sort of thing. And finally, it looks like Ubi is gearing to get back on Steam. As reported by Pavel Jundik, the Ubisoft Connect PC client was added to Steam's default package. Given this news, as well as Ubi's commitment to launch games on the Steam Deck if it's, quote, big enough, and Ubi gauging interest in enabling Proton for Rainbow Six Siege, they seem well poised for a comeback to Steam. That would genuinely be welcome news, given games like Riders Republic that I'm anxious to try on Steam and of course on the Steam Deck. Alright folks, it's time once again for me to tell you about this week's releases, so go ahead and add these to your wish list. Chorus looks absolutely fantastic. It's a starfighter that leans more to the arcadey side, with swift 180s on any axis and a focus on drifting. You explore ancient puzzle-like temples to unlock new weapons and abilities. This is easily my most anticipated title for this week.
Commander of otherworldly power amongst the Circle, who rule over the galaxy with an iron fist. After the destruction of...
Next up is Wartales. Fair warning up front, this is an early access release and there are reports of some bugs, but the bones of this game appear to be quite solid. It's a 3D turn-based tactics game fused with an open world adventure. As in XCOM, there is permadeath and loss is a key part of the game. The medieval post-plague setting set the scene for you and your band of misfits to take on mercenary work and collect on bounties. Despite some of the current instability, it currently has more than 80% positive reviews on Steam and is worth a look. ICARUS is an online co-op survival title by some of the key minds behind DayZ. They broke out to form a new studio, RocketWorks. For limited sessions at a time, you drop onto an alien world that looks familiar but absolutely isn't. You and your friends have to build tools and machinery to protect yourself and push forward and complete the goal of your drop. If you can't make it out in time, well, your progress is lost. It's an ambitious concept, and I really hope they stick the landing on this one. Mechajammer is an isometric tactical RPG with a retrowave, cyberpunk aesthetic that screams to me. The motorbikes are dope, the long coats and eye patches are a vibe, the combat looks like a blast, and the world looks appropriately hostile. The previews from media outlets all seem quite positive, and I look forward to seeing what people think of it over the next coming days.
Tana's handshake. Cranial Aug needs a service. She's still our best hacker, though.
And that does it for this week's news roundup. If you've liked this video, you know exactly what buttons to press. Shout out to my patrons, they help make this channel better. I'm not at the point where companies are sending me things, so every patron helps me to literally buy the things that I may cover, or even just gear that I use on a channel. So thank you, you are appreciated. And if you made it this far, you are a real one and you may have heard this before. Like and subscribe, slap the bell to get notified. Tell a friend it's a vibe. Deck Gang out. Goodbye.